So this is our first flip lesson, our flip video lesson, in fact, and I hope you find it useful. I think after a couple of the lessons, I'm going to include like a survey to see what you like, what you don't like, and things that I can do. But otherwise, let's just get started. So in this video lesson, we will write expressions, use function notation, and graph functions. Okay. So you will need to have your notebook out to take notes, and at times I'm going to probably tell you to pause the video so you can write down things. You can always just pause when you need to do that, though. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to do that throughout this lesson. Okay, so let's look at this first part. We need to find the independent and dependent variables within this scenario and then write a function statement based on it. Okay. So it says Astrid has $50 saved in the bank and charges $15 an hour for babysitting on the weekends. I put this extra note in red because it'll be important in our discussion later, and that she only gets paid for a full hour. So she gets paid for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. So just remember that for later on. So if you want, just go ahead and pause it now. And I want you to figure out what is the independent and dependent, let's see, move that down a little bit because I lost it. Independent and dependent variables. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read it again, and this time I'm probably going to just circle some things. I know I'm talking about, well, let's see, Astrid is saving money, so I'm going to circle this money symbol here and this money symbol here, the dollars, because I know that's important. And then I also know that we're referring to hours, so I'm going to just change the color here, and let's see, I'm going to change that to, or put a box around that for hours. So it looks like we are comparing dollars to hours. All right, so those are the two variables we're discussing. So then I have to think to myself, what controls what? What is the independent variable and what is dependent on that variable? Well, if I think about it, in this situation, if Astrid doesn't work, she does not get paid, right? If she worked 1 hour, then she gets paid $15. If she works 2 hours, she'll get paid, 15 times that. So it looks as if hours are our independent. So I'm gonna write hours for independent, and the money that she makes is the dependent. And so I'm going to say money here is our dependent. All right. So now let's think, how do we now write this as a function statement? So if we remember, is a function was another way that we used to say depends on or is dependent on. Right? So what is dependent on what? Well, our money in this situation, the dollars that she has, Astrid's dollars or money, I'm gonna say she has or earned, because she also has that $15 in her bank, is a function of the hours worked. So money earned is a function of the dollars worked. And another way we can write that is the function of blank is blank. Well, in this situation, the function of what is our independent variable of hours worked is the function of hours worked is equal to basically the money earned. Okay, so I want both of these in your notes because both of these are really important. All right, so let's look at the next one. So now we're going to go ahead and write a expression and then also use function notation for that. So we already have our variable here is I'm saying H is our hours. So Ashley has $50 in the bank. That's not really going to change, right? Well, hopefully it does if she earns more money, but that's our constant for now. So I'm just going to write that 50 because that's just going to stay the same. Plus, and in fact, I'm going to highlight it and I'll change this. Plus this $15 an hour, right? So if H is equal to hours and 15 is being multiplied per hour is earned per hour, I'm going to write that as 15 times H or 15H. And if I remember, I said a function of hours, or in this situation, H, is equal to money earned. I can now write that using function notation as a function of, or f of, and instead of writing x, I'm glad I caught myself, we just named it h. So an f of h is equal to money earned or money saved. And in this situation, what is that equal to? Well, it's equal to this expression. So I'm going to write that down, 50 plus 15h. So now that we have our variables, right, we have our independent and dependent variable, h and f of h, right, because that's the same as saying money earned. We have our expression. We're just going to go ahead and put a table of values to this. So I'm going to say, if she works 0 hours, how much is she going to get paid? Well, she's not going to get paid from her babysitting job, right? But she still has that $50 in the bank. So we have our 50 there. But if she works 1 hour, well, 15 times 1 plus 50. So 15 times 1 is 15 plus 50 is 65. If she works 2, so 15 times 2 plus 50 is 30. So plus 50, which will give me 80. I want you to go ahead and pause it and fill in the rest of this up until, let's say, 7. Yeah. All right, so let's see. I'm going to do that too. So 15 times 3 plus 50. 15 times 4 plus 50. All right, so I also filled it in. I paused it briefly just to fill it in. So now let's look. We said if 0 hours, she got 50. 1 hour, 65, 2, 80. And I'm noticing as it increases by 1 hour, it increases here by 15. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. 1. Also notice here on the grid, I didn't label this, so let's label that now. Our independent variable is going to be our hours. And our dependent variable is money earned, or money in this situation, money earned, why not? And that is our f of h. So I have 1 or 0, $50. No money or no hours, she still has that $50 in the bank. 1 hour, now she's up to 65, and I counted by tens here. Trust me, it took me a second to figure that one out. 2, oops, nope, my bad. Erase that, put this back over here on the 1. So, all right, 2, I have 80. So it's kind of, so 1, 2, 80 goes here. Yep. And I'm noticing a pattern, so I'm probably going to just go something like this. Let's see, 3, does that work? Yes, ma'am, it does. And then this one. So what I'm noticing is that there is, and we'll talk about this, we talk about slope, that the slope is 15. So I can just sort of not look at my ordered pair and be lazy here. All right, but I do want to label my points, which is 0, 50. When x is 0, y is 50, or f of H is 0. When H is 1, F of H is 65, etc. So what I'm doing now is labeling the order pairs, and I'm just going to label a few of them. Okay. So if I were to ask a question, how many hours would it take her to earn $80? You can say, oh, or how many hours would it take her to earn $80? You can say, well, it would take her 2 hours to earn that much based on this graph or this table. If I said she earned $155 after how many hours, it would be 7, based again on looking at this graph. All right, so last, before we end, I do have a exit ticket for you. I want you to sort of just check in to see that you're watching the video and that is helpful. I want you to take a moment and fill out this information. What were the dependent and independent variables in Astrie's scenario? Write Astrie's scenario using function notation, and sketch a graph of the function and include your table of values. So we sort of already worked through that. If you bring in your notes tomorrow for class, then you'll get your homework credit. So look forward to having a discussion on this video in class. Bye.